Hi all, this is Skate, and today I want to have a look at the AMX M4 49, which is currently available in the store for gold, not in a crate. Granted, it's an extortionate amount of gold, but it's still available for gold, which is better than crates. To be honest, at the bundle price, I would have hoped they would have included the camouflage in it, but they didn't. So that's a bit frustrating. I mean, you got 15,000 gold bundle, 16,000 gold, and 17,000 gold. It's kind of expensive, like really expensive. I personally bought the 16,000 gold bundle, which came basically with the tank, 6 equipment slots, and a garage slot. Would have been nice to throw in the camo on that price, but they didn't, and I'm not buying the camo. So yeah, I'll be driving mine without said camo. Camo is kind of funky, I must admit. It's a bit leery, but I kind of like it. All that being said, I didn't know this tank was in the game until last night. I haven't played Blitz an awful lot. Where did that shot go? But yeah, since coming back from Tankfest, I haven't played Blitz a lot. I haven't really made any videos. Well, not much. Life's been busy. But I logged in the game last night, and I saw this as for sale. I bought it straight away, and I'm really glad I did, because it is a very good tank, and it's a very nice tank to play. And if you wanted my opinion, it would be very simple. This is everything the Tiger 2 dreams of being. This is everything the Tiger 2 should be. And that's a shame, really, because the Tiger 2's a bit... It's a bit of an icon, really. It's a tanking icon. Anyone who knows much about tanks probably would have heard of a Tiger or a Tiger 2. If you weren't into this game, would you have ever heard of an AMX M4 49? Probably not. It's a tank which existed only in blueprints, which would account for why many people probably wouldn't have heard of it until it either hit a store or they've seen it in World of Tanks. But I don't know, the logic in the back of my head is make the real tanks that little bit better rather than make the blueprint tanks better. Because you'd play the game wanting to get up to the Tiger and the Tiger 2, and previously they just weren't too impressive. Yet this thing is really impressive, and I do mean really impressive. Because regardless looking at the tank, just look at the guns, and compare the gun on this to IS-6, IS-5, you're looking way more DPM. You're coming closer to Carnarvon DPM than you are the IS range. For a heavy tank, yet this thing has considerably better armor than the Carnarvon. It's way better than the Tiger 2 even. It's got better penetration. Penetration on this thing, 232mm. It's got 310 alpha. Rate of fire is better because it only does 310 instead of 400 as it does on a lot of the IS tanks. Got better gun accuracy, better aiming time, and 10 degrees of gun depression. The only thing that sucks about it is shooting on the move. That's it. 0.19 shooting on the move compared to the Carnarvon's 0.14, compared to the Tiger's 0.16, but compare that to an IS-6, 0.23. In other words, the gun is really, really nice, and the mobility's not too shabby either. In fact, I'd probably say it's above average for a Tier 8 heavy tank. So with all that in mind, you would think the armour would be very Frenchy and very sucky as a result. But it's not. The armour, 250 on the front of the turret, 175 on the front of the hull. It's very well armoured, and when you're using the full 10 degrees of gun depression, it's very, very troll and very bouncy. Yeah, the balance to that is frontally you have a big cupola on top. Is it really that big though if you're playing this thing medium range and just bouncing everything while they're trying to shoot at that cupola? Compare that to the Chieftain at Tier 8. Or compare that to the old Patton one. Or the old E5 one. Any cupola. It's quite small in the grand scheme of things, but it ranges from 20 to 60mm of armour on that. So hold down, that's the weakness you want to look for, or that's the weakness you want to focus on hiding. But when you're using the full 10 degrees of gun depression, and if you're playing this thing not face to face, that's a hard shot. And of course you're hiding your lower plate when you hold down. But if you're not hold down, well, that lower plate only 80mm thick, very easy to penetrate. My solution thus far in the games I've played, face hug. It works really, really well. And because this tank is quite tall, when you're face hugging something like, ooh, I don't know, let's just pick something which is available at tier 8. Let's go with any IS tank. When you face hug any IS tank, they have no opportunities to shoot your lower plates. They have a massive, stupidly strong upper plate to shoot at, and then they've got to try and shoot weak spots somewhere under the gun. Because you can't really shoot the cupola on this thing when you're in an IS tank and you're in a face hug situation. So that makes this very strong. Biggest drawback of this tank really is 55mm of side armor and 40 at the rear. But the mobility, if we go back to that, it's not too shabby for a tier 8 heavy, which means you can spin this thing quick enough to keep up with even a T49 circling you. So are those things really that big a drawback to balance, well, everything else this tank does have? No, not really. If I came across a competent player in one of these, I would be concerned by it, because they will be using the advantages of the tank, and at that point in time it's very difficult to move this tank out of that scenario. Yeah, like in this situation here, I went one direction because the team basically were going to abandon this flank, so I wanted to cover it basically. But the entire enemy team was coming this way, and that's the beauty of this thing. With gun depression on a ridge like this, with that frontal armor, it's very, very durable. Now, is that T49 going to get a shot into us? He's a distraction, but no, he didn't. And we took one from the conch, get one in return, and we bounce one from the IS-6. And there's a couple of nice things about this, is we're in a good, strong position. We are going to take the occasional shot, but when you think how many targets are around us, and more importantly the fact that we're lighting them up for our team as well, it's a nice situation for this tank. It's a very good situation for this tank. And in this sort of situation, this tank is ridiculously durable. And that's what makes this tank so special. It's got a reasonably good rate of fire, it's got good DPM for a tank with that armor, and it doesn't have bad mobility. Oh no, bad side armor. That's it. I really don't see how that can be sugar-coated. If you're using the tank correctly, it's so good. And yeah, you could use that statement for any tank. If you use an IS-6 correctly, it's very good. Yeah, but I could still penetrate that tank from certain angles. Even if he's hull down, I can pen his turret cheeks. I'd struggle even with some premium against this thing hull down. Unless, of course, I could circle it and out-DPM it. But you can't do that because the mobility isn't too bad. So you've got to push this thing, basically. Now, I'm not saying you can't take this thing out. You can take any tank out. But it's a challenging tank to come across when it's in the correct circumstance. Oh, and the credit earning isn't too bad either. That game we did 3,508 damage, and we got 110,000 gold, silver. Gold, that would be nice, wouldn't it? 110,000 silver, and that 110 is profit. And if we have a quick look at the team results, 3,500 doesn't really stack up to be a huge... It's good, I was happy with the figures, especially as I only just bought the tank. But it wasn't just that damage which got me that credits and said mastery. It's also the assistance or spotting damage from holding the line, basically. Spotting, tracking damage. 2,217. And it's the fact I think this thing is so durable, and that armor with that gun depression and that rate of fire and that penetration makes this thing very good. Now, there's no point me sugarcoating that and trying to put it any other way than what it is. I don't think this is flat out OP. I really don't, but I think it might just be a little bit overdone. Just a little bit. No, seriously. I'm not saying you can't take this thing out, and I'm not saying it doesn't have weak spots or weaknesses. What I am saying is it's got a lot of pros in comparison to its cons. And that makes it very good, and that makes it very easy to use. It makes it very durable, quite simply. And it's a French tank which is durable, and that's not something we're used to seeing. So yeah, very happy to see a French tank with armour, but French tanks are known for their very good guns. To make up for their bad armour, this still has the very good gun and the armour. Logic. And it's not Russian either. Nonetheless, it's a very, very good tank. And if you sat there umming and ahhing, I would personally recommend one. I'm not saying go fill your boots, because it is a very expensive tank. But if you're umming and ahhing about it and you can't decide, it is good. I mean, it's early days, but even Blitz Stars is currently showing an average win rate of 67% in this thing. Probably going to go down the more people that play it, but that's very good average win rates for an early on tank. I mean, I've personally only played 31 games in it so far, but I got an 84% win rate so far. Now, I imagine that it is going to go down, but for a tier 8 premium tank, that does seem a little bit high to me. It's definitely above my average anyway, but it's also my highest average damage tier 8 premium tank so far. Now again, we're only talking over 31 battles, but there goes a bounce off a T30. But yeah, we're only talking about 31 battles, but to me, even over 31 battles, it just feels a little bit too high. Also, if I compare it to my other tier 8 premiums, lights, mediums, heavies and tank destroyers, so far I have higher average damage in this than I do any other premium. Now again, this is only over 31 battles, but it still seems a bit too much to me. I don't know. What's your thoughts in the comments? I think this tank is a little overcooked, but nonetheless I think it is a very, very nice tank, and I'm really enjoying it. But I'm curious to what you guys think. Maybe I'm just a bit out of touch because I haven't played in a few weeks. I don't know. But let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. And then, of course, there is the ridiculous price tag attached to this. Really happy when I logged in and saw it was for gold. And then I saw the price and went, what? No, I was genuinely shocked by the price. But I kind of really wanted it, and I've had a crummy few weeks, so I thought, screw it, I'm going to treat myself. So like I said, I picked it up straight away, and, well, kind of glad I did. I can now deal with OP Russian premium tanks by facing off in my French slightly OP premium tank. Because that's the real clincher, isn't it? Is it OP when compared to other premium tanks, like a T-54 Mod 1? No, not really. But is it when you compare it to the tech tree versions? Sadly, yeah, I think so, personally. But that game was 4,111 damage, which netted us a profit of 1,700 silver, and 2 grumps on my team always goes a long way to help. We also spotted 4 by poking the ridge, and have just under 1,000 assistance damage. So yeah, AMX M4 49. What's your view on it? My opinion, overpriced, slightly overcooked, but it's also a very enjoyable tank to play. Possibly because it's overcooked, or possibly because it has a very nice playstyle. Nonetheless, AMX M4 49. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.